Have you ever wondered what Harry Potter in Minecraft would be like? Thanks to the Floo Network's incredible adventure map, we will soon find out. From Privet Drive to Hogwarts, learning spells and even flying, you will discover the wizarding world of Harry Potter in Minecraft. To get this adventure map, you simply have to download it from the internet and add it to your Minecraft files. But note that what you are about to see is all in Minecraft. On day one, I was a bit surprised because I didn't spawn in the cupboard under the stairs. So of course I immediately went down and I saw that it was a bit empty. I then opened the front door and found a letter saying that I had been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I then took the night bus over to the Leaky Cauldron. Upon my arrival, I was actually amazed of how good the place looked. Like there was even a self-brushing broom that looked so cool. Out the back, I found Hagrid and he showed me how to get into Diagon Alley. So there was the Weasley shop, Ollivander's, and even Gringotts Bank. Of course, I popped into Gringotts to get a bit of money. I then went to see Ollivander's to get a wand, but I actually had to do a kind of treasure hunt around the shop before I got it. I got some school books and also some school robes, which were actually oversized. The next few days I visited London and found King's Cross. Molly Weasley was here to explain how to get on platform 9 3/4, and so I ran straight at the wall. On the platform I quickly found Neville, who had lost his toad, so I kindly accepted to help him find it. I asked around and a boy told me that he had heard the toad on the roof of the train. So I immediately knew what that meant. Parkour. After failing a bunch of times, I finally managed to get the toad and I brought it back to Neville. The train was about to leave, so I boarded and we were off. We arrived in Hogsmeade station and Hagrid told the first years to follow him. And I was actually the only one following him. That was a bit strange. I went up to the castle and found McGonagall, who told us that we would be sorted into our houses. After a short speech from Dumbledore, it was time. How would I like to be known to history? The good? What do I most value? Community? What would I most hate people to call me? Ordinary. I would rather invent a potion that would guarantee me wisdom. I find most difficult to deal with boredom, and I'd rather be trusted. I made it in a Hufflepuff, and I didn't mind not making it to Gryffindor, because I would have to value glory, praise, and power over kindness and wisdom, and that's just not me. I had a look at all the professors, and then I went to have dinner with the famous trio. I had actually forgotten that the prefect of Hufflepuff was Cedric Diggory. I then went to see the Weasley twins and they gave me the Marauders map. On day 5, I woke up in the Hufflepuff common room and realized that it was hidden in the wine cellar. My first lesson was Charms class. The first charm we learnt was Lumos, so we had to go in a pitch dark maze and find some stars. It looks quite easy edited like that, but it actually took me quite a while. Day 6 was Defense Against the Dark Arts with Professor Lupin. I was learning Stupefy, so at first all I had to do was shoot at targets. Next off was some parkour, and don't worry, I'm really good at that. Not. But actually, I was so concentrated that I managed to go through without falling. And you'll see in the rest of the video that it was just a one-time thing. As they say, out of the frying pan and into the fire. So I actually thought it was all over, but guess what was waiting for me? A bunch of skeletons. As you can imagine, it did not go well. Spiders could actually attack from a distance, but thankfully they got stuck like in normal Minecraft. The enemies would drop kind of packages with ingredients and items in them. On day 7, I was looking for the potions classroom, but I ended up in the sewers instead. The Hogwarts castle is actually immense, so you get lost very easily. When I finally found the classroom, I had to look around the place for ingredients. The first potion I brewed was Murtlap Essence, which restores a large amount of health. On day 8, I learned a healing charm. I went back in the arena to fight off some skeletons. And guess what? I completely forgot about the potion I'd made. The healing spell worked really well, but the problem was that I had to stay in place for it to heal me. Not very practical when some skeletons are chasing you. Guess what spawned on the final wave? A troll. I knew it would do a lot of damage, so I killed it from a distance. On day 9, I went to the library to find Hermione Granger. She needed help with some flyers, so I agreed to help her. On my way, I got the terrible idea of helping another girl hang up some flyers. And as Hogwarts is so confusing, it took me ages to find all the notice boards. I even ended up in the 3rd floor corridor. I then saw a painting that seemed very familiar, the entrance to the Gryffindor common room. After a short toilet break, I continued looking for some notice boards. I ended up in the Slytherin common room for some reason. On day 10, I'd finished hanging up the flyers, so I went on my way to Hogsmeade. I really enjoyed that part of the game because the sounds were so peaceful. When I arrived in Hogsmeade, I visited Zonko's joke shop, and then I went to look for notice boards to put up the flyers. After visiting the 3 broomsticks, I found Neville, who had of course lost his toad again, but I was nice, so I offered to help him find it. I went to the post office and I was told that they had all heard croaking in the ceiling. This meant I had to do some parkour again. On day 11, I gave the toad back to Neville and I continued putting up some leaflets. The notice boards were pretty difficult to find, so instead I started helping a boy to finish off his snowman. When the night came, I found another notice board, and I also found some gold in a house. I guess you could call that stealing, but who cares, we're in Minecraft. On day 12, I finally found the last notice board and was able to go back to Hogwarts. When I arrived back at Hogwarts, I found Luna, and she needed help finding her belongings that had probably been stolen. I was looking for the room of requirements, but instead I arrived in the Ravenclaw common room. I also found the golden snitch, which was actually part of a treasure hunt. I spent the rest of the day trying to find the room of requirements, unsuccessfully.
Nice.
On day 13, I finally found it and entered. And honestly, it was amazing. It was really, really well made. I found 2 of Luna's belongings, and then I opened a chest, and monster books started attacking me. I found Luna's court necklace, which looked quite cute, and the Ravenclaw diadem. Once I had found all her belongings, I went back out to find Luna. I took a shortcut by the roof and was able to admire the castle. On day 14, I went back to find Hermione Granger, and she proposed to teach me the spell Alohomora. On the contrary, some doors needed keys to be opened. Next off, parkour. This parkour had a timer, so no pressure. After that, I had to find my way through a pitch dark maze. Want to see me get freaked out by nothing? Here you go. Here are some more shameful parkour skills for you. Easy peasy. 2 doors, 1 wrong, 1 right, 2 guards, 1 lies, 1 tells the truth. That was quite easy. I went to the right and it was wrong, then I went to the left and it was right. The next task was once again a guessing game.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Nice.
On day 16, I finally learnt how to fly. I hopped onto my broom and flew off. I discovered the Quidditch pitch, which looked a lot like in the movies. When I flew near the castle, my PC was struggling. I didn't know Hogwarts had flying lessons at night, but whatever. Today, I would be learning the very famous spell Wingardium Leviosa. I quickly noticed that when I was carrying the levitated blocks, I kinda looked like I was delivering pizza. I did a bunch of tasks, so at one point I had to bring down a bridge, and another time I had to bring the block through a kind of maze. For the last task, I was quite confused, but I managed to figure it out in the end. Right now, I'm editing, and I find it quite funny because it looks like I accomplished all the tasks very easily. On day 19, Professor Lupin thought it was a good idea to give us a lesson in the floor. I mean, why not? Today's spell was no doubt my favorite, Bombarda Maxima. I enjoyed the fact that lessons actually included all the previous spells you've learnt, and it kind of mixes it up a bit. I came into the room thinking that nothing would happen, and I couldn't have been more wrong. The first wave was poisonous toads, the second was rats and murtlaps, and the third was pixies. The pixies were actually aggressive, but I don't think they are in the books and the movies. On day 22, I found Ron and he told me he had a toad infestation at his house and he asked for my help. Once I was done, I went to see Arthur Weasley and he asked me to go get some Muggle items in London. Even the London Eye had been built. I kept seeing a lot of empty bottles in the streets, so I guess the English were having a nice time. I wanted to buy myself a broomstick, so I went to see the prices, but I sadly didn't have enough money yet. On day 24, I had Herbology class. I had to wear earmuffs to not take any damage from mandrakes. I had to collect all the stars that were hidden in the greenhouses. After finding another snitch in the castle, I went to Transfiguration class. The first task was a puzzle that took a long time to do. Thankfully, if you got it wrong, you just had to pull the chain and it would just go back to how it was in the beginning. For the second task, I needed to get some keys from some knights. To get the keys, I had to stun the knights and transform them into ducks. I must say, it was quite sad to have to kill the ducks just to get the key. After an agility test and a puzzle, I was finally done. Oh, and by the way, the characters in this map are just upgraded villagers, I guess. Like, all they said was, The next day, I went to see Lupin in his office to learn the Patronus charm. Okay, so for that next part, I couldn't figure out how to climb onto the sides. So when you can't go around it, you have to go through it. The next part was really easy. I mean, Dementors and parkour, it was so easy, and I made it to Lupin in no time. On day 36, I went back to London and found a telephone box and made my way to the Ministry of Magic. I then made the grave mistake of accepting a quest that was so confusing. Like the little compass at the bottom of the screen just kept pointing below, but you couldn't actually go below, like every staircase went up. When I had enough of losing my time, I went to do an apparition lesson. The first task was a sort of memory game. As you can see, I was completely confused for the second task. But it was actually a rapidity test and you had to apparate before the barrier goes down. The next task was a maze where you had to find 3 keys, and the apparating part was quite easy, but everything looked the same, so I just got lost. And I was probably going in circles quite a bit. After looking quite a bit and even taking a pause from the game, I found the 2 other keys. I went back to see the professor, and then we started hearing some rumbling. Yeah, so I was left alone to fight the Death Eaters, and I couldn't even get out of the room. And the professor just showed up again after the fight. Thanks for the help. The next day I thought maybe I could apparate below, but guess what? You can't apparate in the Ministry of Magic. I went to see Dumbledore in his office and I saw that he had an LGBTQ flag on his desk, which was quite funny. I also saw Fawkes the Phoenix, who was very well designed. Dumbledore asked me to go to Grimmauld Place to find the members of the Order of the Phoenix. I looked around the place and found Mad-Eye Moody and Tonks. Some Death Eaters had broken out of Azkaban and we had to go there immediately. Things did not go well. I just kept dying all the time, and the guy who was meant to help me wasn't even looking where he was shooting his spells. On day 56, Dumbledore told me I could use the pensieve, and I was like, that's gonna be a really fun experience. But actually no, I just had to relive my first ever lesson. The next day I found Luna, and she wanted me to go and try and find some Nargles at her place. Not sure what that is, but I still went. Her father told me to go have a look near the windmill, so I went over, and on my way I saw the burrow, and I thought that was a bit strange at first, but I remember when I read the books that the burrow wasn't too far from the Lovegoods place. I put on some lovely glasses they had given me, and of course, I found nothing, so I just headed back. What a great and useful quest, don't you think? On day 58, I thought, why not explore the castle a bit more? So I set up to the Owlery and I found Hedwig. In the Owlery, I found another snitch, and I actually quite liked the owl sounds. The next few days, I realized that I still hadn't found Hagrid's hut, so I just started looking everywhere in the castle. I even accepted to do the 3rd floor corridor quest, but I didn't do it straight away because I really wanted to find Hagrid's hut. On day 62, I finally found the wooden bridge leading down to Hagrid's. I stole his axe and then I went in his hut to have a look around. And guess who I found? Fang. Cutie. Hagrid gave me a quest to win over the trust of a Demisguise. I like the fact that they put animals from the Fantastic Beasts movies in this adventure map. I then went to help a boy who had lost his parrot near the spider's lair in the Forbidden Forest. After fighting off some spiders, I found the parrot and I looked on my left and I did not like what I saw. It was finally time to go down the trapdoor in the 3rd floor corridor. The first quest was exactly like in the movies. I had to chase a flying key, with a broomstick. The second task was chess. Well, it wasn't actually chess, it was more of a puzzle, but it was still quite complicated. The third task was, well, that's it for the video, guys. No, I'm joking. I was brave enough to go in. The next task was a sort of riddle where you had to find the right potion to drink. But being a bit cheeky, I just went on the internet and had a look what they had done in the books. And that was it. I found the mirror and I put it back where it belonged. On day 69, I went to have a look for the Whomping Willow. I took the secret passageway down to the Shrieking Shack. But there was that kind of little thing that kept attacking me and it moved way too fast, so I couldn't kill it and it was really annoying. The next day, the Weasley twins asked me to go down to the kitchens to steal a bit of food. When I found Dobby, he told me that I could actually just take any food I wanted. Whilst I was looking around the castle, I found a hidden room and there was a chest at the end. The next day I saw a golden snitch behind a barrier and I managed to find a way to get in and I took the snitch. That same day I also found the Hogwarts laundry. After seeing a strange inscription on the wall, I found Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. I pulled down the chain and I discovered the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. I hopped in and landed in the sewers. On my left I saw some skeletons and I wanted to finish them off from where I was, but I forgot to sneak and I fell right into them. For the next part, I had to drink some potion of gillyweed to be able to breathe underwater. There were some kind of aquatic creatures that kept attacking me, but I managed to make it past them. Only to die by drowning, because I had completely forgot to drink some more gillyweed potion. I don't think this part was meant to be too difficult, but the problem was I kept going back in the pitch dark corridors, and the skeleton could then hit me. I even got stuck in a cobweb, but thankfully I managed to kill the skeleton. The second time a skeleton followed me into the corridor, it managed to kill me. And when you get defeated, guess what? You have to start all over again. Vengeance is sweet. I had found the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. Salazar Slytherin was staring down at me. With the sword of Gryffindor in hand, I tried getting in Salazar's mouth, unsuccessfully.
Nope.
On day 83, I went to the ministry to help a man with his newspapers. I also found this funny frog. I went to Diagon Alley and I was told that the man who was meant to deliver the newspapers had forgotten. I found him in a bar nearby and I gave him a remembrall. On day 84, it was time for a trip to Nocturne Alley. I went to Borgin and Burke's and I accepted a quest. I had to deliver a Hand of Glory to a student at Hogwarts. I then went to chill with the boys. On day 85, I went through my inventory and I realized that I had a bunch of potions that I could have used to help defeat my enemies. I then delivered the newspapers to the man and went back to Hogwarts. I had to look for Blaise Zabini, and a boy told me that he was in the Astronomy Tower. And once I arrived in the Astronomy Tower, another boy told me he was somewhere else instead. I now had enough money to buy myself a Nimbus 2000. I went to see Madame Hooch to ask her if I could do another lap. On day 87, I realized that I could now fly around Hogwarts. I went to see Hagrid and I realized he didn't have a head nor arms anymore for some reason, but he seemed alright. I then went over to the Quidditch pitch. I found Katie Bell and she asked me if I could change all the Slytherin banners to Gryffindor because she wanted to upset the Slytherins. I then found Oliver Wood and Flint who were arguing on who could use the Quidditch pitch. Flint told me that if I flew a lap faster than him, Oliver Wood could get the pitch. I then found Neville, who had once again lost his toad. I had a look around and I actually randomly found the toad. On day 89, I wanted to get into the restricted section of the library. I looked everywhere for a key and found nothing. On day 90, I wanted to try to see if I could travel through the Floo network. Sadly, I couldn't, so I simply started wearing random items that were in my inventory. I also realized that I could sell some items. I continued trying to go downstairs in the ministry, but I couldn't even jump off the barrier. On day 91, I saw a boy that was staring straight at a wall, and basically he was staring at a clue. The inscription was, where does noble blood look down on those less refined? So logically, I thought it would be Slytherin. I actually found a clue in the Slytherin common room, but I don't think it was the right one. I then thought that maybe it could be like wizards who look down at muggles, so I went over to London and found nothing. I then found Malfoy and he needed help to remove illegal items from his house. I actually found the cellar where Harry Potter and Ron Weasley were locked up. I then went to Diagon Alley and I sold all the items I'd found. I then went back to chill with the boys and I somehow got stuck. On day 95, I sold some items to a shop owner. I hesitated before selling the Quidditch glasses, so I tried them on and I sold them. I then had a look at the Weasley shop, which was quite cool. On day 96, I decided to go back to the roots, so I took the bus over to Godric's Hollow. I found the graveyard where James and Lily Potter were buried. The next 2 days I felt adventurous, so I went back into the dark forest. I found a troll that seemed to be guarding something. I tried attacking it with an axe, and that was just not a good idea. When I killed a troll, another would respawn. So I discreetly made my way around and I found a cave filled with gold. And a bunch of nifflers were there too. On day 99, I went back to Diagon Alley. I found a hidden room, and guess who was there? Voldemort, having tea. Well, that wasn't too complicated. Day 100, it was time to go home. I took the train back to London. And went back to my gloomy house in Privet Drive. I'm joking, I stayed at the Weasleys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, it would help a lot. I hope you're having a nice day or evening wherever you are.